Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League for race 9 of the Expo Championship from Laguna, Seca, an iconic racetrack. It is 2.24 miles in length, it's got 13 corners, it's got the corkscrew, the Rahal straight, the Rainy curve and the Andretti hairpin. Let's have a quick look at the current championship standings then. Demon R is on top of the pile in first place on 142 points, 19 ahead of Steve F1, so championship will be decided in this event. SGP is in third place, on 114 points. He's got half a chance of catching Steve F1. Twilight in 4th on 108. Jason in 5th on 96. Dave the Harp is in 6th place on 71. He's ahead of Gary, who's on holiday this week. He's in 7th place. Rich Blues in 8th on 64 points. Rich working, so unable to race, which means Jimmy has got a chance of catching them in 9th. And 10th place we've got SRI on 45 points. Conrad in 11th. And then we've got Hay 12th. Bunsell 13th. Fluffy 14th, Mitch 15th and our pal in 16th, who will be making a surprise entry in this week's event. So, quick look at qualifying result then. Demon R taking pole position with a 1:35.603. He'll line up on the front row alongside Steve F1, who's 3/10 back. Conrad will start on row 2 alongside Dave the Harp, so that's 3rd and 4th place. And then SGP is ahead of Jason, but only by 0.001 of a second. Very close between the two of them again. Fluffy in 7th place, lining up alongside SRI. And then we've got Twilight in 9th place on row 5. Alongside Jimmy. Art Pal, as I mentioned, making an appearance today, row 6. Hay is 12th, somehow did not set a time but qualified ahead of Bunsell. Not quite sure how that one worked, but yeah, there we go. As I mentioned, a couple of drivers away, Mitch, Gary and Rich unable to race, which is a big shame, but nice to see the others returning. So let's see how they're going to get on here at Laguna Seca. Let's hand over to them taters. So here we go then, the final race of the championship. It's at Laguna Seca. Demon R on pole position. Ray in the commentary box with us. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing very well. We wait for the lights to
They go out! They've gone out at Bunsell! We're looking at Bunsell at the back of the... Oh, well, there's Demon R on the pole position. I think it's because there was a dodgy camera angle, to be honest. But Demon R under pressure down into turn 1. Ray, you were saying that you were alright. Are you sure you're alright? It's a bit sunny out here.
Yeah, I need to watch I don't burn.
Burn, burn, burn.
As we see, Steve F1 going for a move on Demon R. He was up making that. Conrad topped it. Nice to see Conrad back in.
Aye, that it is. Conrad, I don't know if he's had much practice, but he's got a lot of pressure on Steve F1 at the moment. Now, I will have mentioned it already, but yeah, for Steve F1 to win this championship, he's going to need to score maximum points and Demon R to not score any. So Conrad still applying the pressure. SGP, though, got Dave the Art right behind him, Jason right behind him. Oh, Fluffy and Dave the Art both making... moves there. Did Dave catch SGP? Oh, I don't know. Oh, he definitely caught Jason.
I think front of Jason's car's now flat pack.
Oh, well, I was going to say it's a Swedish torpedo. He's had to make it. Oh, Twilight's, what a move. He's managed to get through. Dave the Arp's plummeting. I am hearing, actually, that SGP missed a gear shift. That's why Dave had to take evasive and ended up off the track. And unfortunately caught SGP, so it's SGP's fault. I'd blame him anyway. What that has created, what that has created is a bit of a gap though between 4th and 3rd. Oh, Bunsell, big slide. Oh, collected by.
Is that Rich or Dave the Harp?
It's Dave the Harp. Rich isn't in this race. Unfortunately, Rich is able to. He's working. Well, he says he's working. Personally, I think he's whatever comment it was I made last week about his sexual activities. I think he's busy with that. You're choking on your drink. Yep.
Yeah, I'm choking on my pina colada.
On your what? On your pina colada? All right. Oh, Fluffy! He's choking on some gravel out there just before the Cooper's Bridge. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few people do that though. The feature of this track, Ray, you dip a wheel off and you get sucked off.
Yeah, then they took the line for the corner as well, so it slowed the SRI down, so that's giving Twilight the chance, but SRI's keeping it round outside.
is.
It's all good. I like coming back at him.
I think he's just tucked in behind Fluffy. Yes, he has. Oh, I think that's all right, mate. Just giving Fluffy a little bit of a tag. Has he survived? Yes, he has. He's all right. That's a push to. Oh, off in the background. Hey, I will mention that we may mention about pushes to passes in this race. We're just taking the piss, guys. We are just the commentators, so don't trust anything we say.
Oh, that was close for SRI, taking that curb. Nearly done a corner cut there. As Fluffy's trying to pile on the pressure as we come down. I've lost my track map.
Well, Connor still on the back of Steve F1. A little bit of a gap to Demon R though. I mean, Demon R's in a fairly comfortable situation. He just needs to keep himself out of trouble, don't get any penalties, and he takes the 7th championship. Conrod's closing in though on Steve F1 down at turn 1. Ooh, getting nice and close, taking a wide entry. He's going to be able to go for a little bit of a switch back on the pack cam. No, can't quite do it. SGP going a bit wide down at 1 as well. 1 being the Andretti Erpen.
Don't know how much passes Oh, Twilight was up to Twilight. Looked as if he took a sharp right.
Oh, I wasn't.
Couldn't see the track in front of him because of the cars in front.
Maybe I wasn't looking. Go on.
I was looking at that cap.
Yeah, well, he got very close to the back of Steve F1. Oh, he's got very wobbly as well. He's out wide. Can he save that? Can he save it? Yeah, no, yes, no.
50-50.
Well, you know what? Oh, he's up at the top. You know what? He's lucky that SGP created that gap between 3rd and 4th earlier. Otherwise, he'd have been plummeted down the positions. That will have been a bit of a squeaky bum moment for him, though. SRI still leading this pack then, just ahead of Fluffy. Hey, having a bit of a cheeky look at SGP. Demon R now with a comfortable gap to Steve F1. Steve F1 under no pressure, may be able to focus forwards. And talking about focusing forwards, Hey has got Jimmy trying to make a move on him down into the final corner. SGP there as well. Bumsel also closing him. SRI's opened up a bit of a gap to Fluffy now.
Yeah, I see that on the pack cam. Here having a good race with Jimmy here. Seen Jimmy sideways?
Not yet.
Still
no.
time.
There's always time for Jimmy to be side. Oh, SGP went a little deep there. Jimmy having a look up the inside. Still having a look up the inside, but SGP's got the inside for the next corner. Hey trying to follow him through as well. Jimmy will get hung out to try. Don't run wide. Who's going for a switchback? Got to be careful of the sausages though, because you hit the sausages in these cars and they do not like it whatsoever.
Yeah, it sends your car up in the air. You can't get control of the corner.
You can't steer if your wheels are in the air.
Yeah. Not seen Jimmy going sideways much this week so far.
Not yet.
I still don't know what that is in his grill area.
You know what?
It's like a change.
It's like half. It's like a face that's got half a mask on it. I genuinely ain't got a clue. If anybody knows, feel free to pop it in the comments because we ain't got a clue. There's probably some youngster hippie reference that we're too old to understand. Dave the Arp. I just mentioned as well.
Careful.
Jason coming round the outside of him. Not surprised having a cheeky look there with Dave being very wobbly. SGP also having a bit of a look. We'll mention that they have just come past the pit entry. Oh, Jimmy there was sideways, or was that Jason? It might have been Jason.
It was Jimmy. It was Jimmy sideways.
Oh,
but
yeah.
SGP inside over.
Well, Jason.
SGP's fault.
Yeah, Jason's coming under a lot of pressure now from Dave the Harp. Oh, Dave thinking about having a look around the outside. He is going to. Oh, wow. Hey, just missed the back of Art Pal on the pack cam. Jimmy and SGP. Oh, Jimmy got a fast run out the first corner there and tagged the back. Art Pal up the inside of Bunsel as well. There he is on the pack cam.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go, so he just hit the back of Dave the Harp. It was kind of boxed in between SGP and the
Aye, that he is. Dave the Arp now having a look up the inside of Jason, and oh, just got a little bit tuggy. I was going to say no Flintstone today, but yeah, he's not here. But Dave definitely in the mix of things. Might have to look and see if anyone's feet are poking through the bottom of the car to help pedal them along. But SGP, oh, who's that? Dave the Arp, oh, on the back cam, wobbling through the right left-hander there, sorry. And SGP now pressuring Jimmy. Here comes Art Pal. This is getting a little bit feisty now into the corkscrew. Sorry, as SGP calls it, the bus stop. I mean, how you could name it the bus stop, I don't know. Not unless he's used to just parking it there.
Yeah, maybe tries to park it atop the corkscrew and it's thinking of the bus stop.
Jimmy closing in then on Jason. Oh, SGP diving into the pits. So is Dave the Harp. I'm kind of not surprised Dave is. He's had a bit of a tough lap there, a couple of offs, and perhaps think, you know, just get rid of these tyres. We're not even 10 minutes in, but I don't think they'll be able to get to the end from that point. On the pack cam, Demon are still ahead of Steve F1. They're both fairly comfortably driving away. Or Demon are actually just clobbered the sausage curb as Bunce was going massively wide. I think for Demon R, the last thing he's going to want to do here is make a mistake that gives Steve F1 the win, because if Steve F1 wins, it opens up the possibility of the miracles that we were talking about before. Because let's face it, if Steve F1 wins the race and Demon, oh, Jimmy is sideways there. I think he must have got a radio from his team saying, yeah, they're saying you're not been sideways enough, Jimmy. So Steve F1 wins the race and Demon R gets a disconnection. That's championship switcheroony.
You can only pray, can't you? As we know why SGP might call it the bus stop, because it's a quick change from left to right.
Yeah.
The steering angle.
Maybe. Either that or he was just drunk when he was recording the footage and kept calling it the bus stop.
Yeah, I think he had that bottle of wine.
And a bottle of whatever else. Oh, Jimmy nearly dipping a wheel again. A couple more.
The crisis.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to tag the back up.
He's wobbling. Well, Hay and Bunsell, I think it was, dived into the pits as well, just so you know.
Look who we've got on track. We've got Jimmy Savile.
Oh, don't call him that, bloody hell. Jesus.
Paul back with his racing after his long road of recovery with his arm.
Yeah.
See Fluffy on the back of SRI trying to
well,
put pressure.
Interestingly, SRI and Fluffy had a fairly nice gap, but Jason has been able to close in a bit, maybe because a few people have pitted, it's sort of lessened the battle, and Jason's been able to focus a bit more on sort of looking forwards. Twilight.
Oh, Fluffy's got running, so he's going to get there before he's looking. I can't. What's the corner called? The Rahal Straight.
Yeah. Well, it's not the straight is called the Rahal Straight. Yeah, it's not the corner, because otherwise it wouldn't be the straight, would it?
Well, it's on the same. But
that's all right. That's a bit too much curb there taken. Fluffy closing in still. Art Pal and Twilight battling. Steve F1 into the pits from second place. Okay, he's going for an undercut on Demon R. Demon R has not pitted. Question will be, can Steve F1 get to the end from this distance? And where's he?
Going for the move on this other way. And the last corner.
He's got it done as well, and that's allowed Jason to really close in. Unlike last week, the pit stops here are not quick. They're going to take a long time. It's about 40 seconds. I think the total lost time is. Jason trying to make a move on Fluffy. Fluffy defended from SRI. SRI round the outside. He's going to be able to do it. Jason looking for an undercut. A switchback undercut. Going for a gap that's no longer there. SRI stays ahead. Nicely done. Or gets ahead, I should say.
Yeah. Must have just got the drive off the corner being outside. So was able to square it off and just straighten the wheel.
Yeah, on the pack cam, by the way, Steve F1 has come out of the pits just ahead of Dave the Harp, who is just ahead of SGP. And they're down in about 10th, 11th and 12th, I think, or 9th, 10th and 11th. So, yeah, Steve F1 lost a lot of ground by pitting. Jason nearly ran a little bit wide there. Question will be, is Demon R going to pit to sort of cover Steve F1?
And it doesn't look like everybody else is pitting, so Steve F. Whoa,
Steve F. Whoa, 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 whoa.
He's losing to Dave the Harp. He had a wobble there on that wee kink.
Yep. And Demon R is pitting.
Yeah, if people keep pitting, then Steve F1's not going to get the boost to help him do the undercut.
That's true,
We'll see what happens.
But the thing is, he only would have needed, what, a second, 2 seconds worth of undercut, which he could still get. Having that bit of an off will have made a difference. The thing is, though, with Dave the Harp...
just getting his tyres are out.
Yeah.
Steve F1's coming over the line. It's going to be close.
Well, it's not going to be close. they're quite ahead of him. SGP, where's he going? Oh, that's off the track. Yeah, that's exceeding limitations of said track, yes. He may just not have been looking, though. Demon R coming out of the pit lane and is behind these three. So Steve F1 has got the undercut on him, but Dave the Harp and SGP have both got the undercut on Demon R and Steve F1. But they've got a lot longer to go to get to the end. I can't see him getting to the end of the race. SRI is still battling a little bit with Conrad, who's behind him. With Fluffy. Conrad is leading the race now.
Yeah. When's Conrad going to go in? Is he going to try and make more of a gap, or is Steve F1 and Demon R going to take the rightful positions up the front, and then it's what happens with SGP is Demon R's looking for a move, so is Steve F1 at the same time.
Yeah, 2 moves happening at the same time into the corkscrew. Steve F1, I think, has just got through. Demon R gets through on SGP. May have ran a little bit wide. Yeah, Steve F1 did get through. So I think that's kind of crucial for Steve F1. He needed to get the move done. For Demon R, though, he needs to try and get past Dave the Harp as quickly as he can. As Zarpal and Twilight for 4th and 5th going side by side through the final corner. It's like they're just holding hands around here, isn't it? I mean, it reminds me of when my girlfriend gave me 2 little hatchets for Valentine's Day. I always did like small acts of kindness. Oh, Twilight! That's the wrong way!
That's a corner cut and a half.
No, it is. I think it's fair to say he definitely dipped a wheel on the dirty bit under braking. Demon R trying to make a move on Dave the Harp now into turn 2, and SGP.
SGP's falling.
Yeah, that he is.
Oh, Dave the Harp's holding his own battle here. Is he going to? He's going to have to watch that. SGP needs to watch the sausage, he doesn't hit it and then hit Dave. Oh, Dave's a wee bit on the sand, or gravel, whatever you want to call it. They're still side by side 2 corners later. Are they going to get it finished by this corner? Yep. Dave the Harp, no. SGP's looking for a switchback.
Demon R just dipped a wheel as well. That may give Dave the Harp a bit of an opportunity to have a look. Fluffy and SRI battling for 2nd place. Twilight's coming under pressure though on the pack cam by Steve F1. I think Twilight's had another off somewhere. So he's now under a lot of pressure. Steve F1 makes the move on him here. We're looking at that now. So Dave the Harp still fending off SGP. Demon R on the back of Twilight. Oh, Twilight has a little bit of a wobble. Demon R up the inside. SGP up the inside of Dave the Harp. And is he made the move? Not quite. They're still side by side, are they? No, SGP is through. So we've now got Steve F1 ahead of Demon R, ahead of Twilight, who's heading into the pits, and then SGP ahead of Dave the Harp. Conrad still going. He's leading the race. I'm wondering if he's just going to sort of get to halfway.
His tyres are doing okay now, but I don't think they'll last quite much longer. SRI's got less tyre wear than Conrad.
Well,
Fluffy says him.
Well, yeah.
SRI and Fluffy have kind of got the same tyre.
Well, that's not a surprise considering they've been running a similar sort of pace. Maybe Conrad is just pushing that little bit harder. But
We
no
can hear
comment.
it in the chat party.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, usually when Flintstone
Here
is
we
here,
go.
we can hear him.
The
But,
two leaders of the championship, Demon R and Steve F1.
oh, just behind him.
Demon R going to follow him, or is he going to go for a move?
Well,
It seems to be
SGP and
SGP still having that battle going on.
Side by side through the left-hander. Oh, I think Dave may have just gone a little bit wide. Easily done though, given a bit of space. Artpal now coming under a bit of pressure from Steve F1. I don't know if Artpal may have just dipped a wheel somewhere. Always ran a little bit wide. Steve F1 going to go for a bit of a switchback. Demon R's all over him. The 3 wide down into the left-hander through rainy curve. It's raining for definite. Oh, Demon R's out wide. It's raining sand. I don't know if they've Steve F1 perhaps to give him a little bit of a nudge out there. I think he may have done. Is Steve F1 trying to give places here? I think he might be. But SGP's trying to come round the outside. Yeah, Steve F1 definitely backing out of that one. So I think maybe he thinks it was his fault as to why Demon R was off. But that's just really bunched these 6 up.
It looked like he'd done it in the middle of the corner as well. So that kind of bunched everybody up coming out the corners.
Yeah, where's SGP making the move? Oh, SGP not making the move. He was early on the brakes. I think they're perhaps a bit concerned about being up the inside. I mean, that's something I haven't really mentioned yet about this track. Being up the inside anywhere on this track is dangerous because of the marbles. It is slippy. I mean, just ask Steve F1 about when Demon R punted him off in the final corner of the final lap of the race to take the win because he locked it up under braking. Also, that was caused by Twilight's curse, or Twilight speaking the unspoken curse in league racing on the last lap, saying Demon R is doing really well when he was leading. Demon R then goes off 3 corners from the end, and in a desperate bid to keep the win, does kind of what SRI done there, gets his tyres all dirty. Here comes Fluffy. This for second place. Fluffy can't quite make that move just yet. Conrad, is that him into the pits? Yes, it is. Yeah. Conrad into the pits.
Yeah, he's into the pits, and you see the tyre wear just a wee bit coming down on. Is it SRI?
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at their tyre wear still, I mean, the wear is good. I mean, if they want to pit anytime now, they can do another comfortable stint on the pack camp. Demon R leading SGP. Steve F1 is right in there as well. Demon R got a bit of a gap.
Fluffy in the lead now.
Oh, he is. What a move. I tell you what, Flintstone will be happy. He'll be happy for him with that one.
The different lines.
Oh, on the pack camp, Steve F1.
Oh, Fluffy's off.
Oh, Fluffy's off big time. Oh, right, come on,
He doesn't want to take first place.
No, Flintstone needs to send him a message and tell him to calm down. Demon R then, still ahead of SGP. Steve F1 was having a cheeky look up the inside of SGP at turn 1, although I think SGP may have gone a little bit wide. If Fluffy's tyres were okay, they may not be so much now. Perhaps pitting soon wouldn't be a bad idea. At the end of the day, these two at the front now, they're halfway through this race and their tyre wear is good, so they know they can easily pit and get to the end. The only downside is going to be that they're going to come out a long way back, as Connor has. I don't know what position Conrad is in at the moment, but because we've got 2 cameras looking at the same 2 cars.
Yeah, CSRI, he's got a bit of a gap now to Fluffy.
Oh, he's into the pits.
Is Fluffy's continuing.
Yeah, well, look at that in the background. So Fluffy's continuing, but Demon R is closing in on Fluffy. It may not have been a bad time for Fluffy to pit there, really, unless he just wanted to lead for a full lap. Just having a look. There's Conrad. So Conrad's come around the final corner. He's in 9th place. Yeah, 9th place at the moment, but he's recently pitted, so he's got decent tyres and he's got decent pace. Dave the Harp has pitted once already. His tyres are actually looking all right. I think if I was Dave, I'd be looking at trying to get to the end if he can. Having a look up the inside of Jimmy. A little bit of contact. No harm, no foul. Not unless it's a 2-footed one.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the different lines. People sometimes go wide and then cut in for the second pits.
Yep. Oh, Jimmy's wide.
Dave the Hart was taking a tight.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, you don't want to be on the gravel.
It doesn't, but I think Jimmy went wide and kicked up a load of dust and got sideways like he did earlier. Dave was evading him, I think. Conrod's all over the back of Jimmy now as well. Jimmy with slightly dirty tyres. Conrad having a look. Don't go for it in this left-hander. It's evil. We haven't seen someone proper clobber the curb yet and lose it, but it can happen.
I just commentated because someday and probably one of these three.
Well, Flintstone's going to be glad he's not here today, that's for certain.
Jimmy get pretty close to the back of Dave the Hart there when breaking of the...
He did.
Box. I was about to call it.
The bus stop. Fluffy into the pit. Stephen Ara just caught up to the back of him. Fluffy into the pit, so he's had a decent stint. So what's the situation up on the front? Demon R leading from SGP. Bit of a gap between them two. Steve F1 in a position to make a move, maybe down into one. Jason is in a decent position at the moment. Jason pitted at the same time as Demon R. Is he going to go for it? Is he going to go for it? Is he going to go for it? Up the inside, he's having a look. SGP breaking nice and late though, taking that wide line. Steve F1 takes the inside line. SGP looking for a bit of a switchback. I don't think it's going to work though unless he's going for the switchback on this corner, which he is trying to do. But Steve F1 parks it just enough to be safe. Fluffy underway again. I'm not sure if he's changed his tyres though from what I'm hearing on the radio. Oh, SGP's dipped a wheel.
So I was too busy looking at Fluffy in the back camera. Don't know, has he changed his tyres? We do know there was some radio banter about changing tyres. I think the next time we'll go on we'll see his tyre. Oh, Dave the Hart! He's lost it.
Oh, wow! I wasn't looking. Did he? Oh!
We got a buzz. Buzz.
maybe that was the bus stopping. So I'm just making a quick note of something I needed to deal with. So let's see. We're looking at Fluffy heading into the corkscrew. So he was leading. He's come out 12th after his pit stop. But he's got nice fresh tyres with just over 15 minutes to go as Hay peels off into the pits. Conrad on the pack cam is in 5th place, but he's got a bit of a gap to Jason ahead of him. I will mention as well, you might notice on the pack cam that we've got the on-screen data on the pack cam. That was accidental, but I don't know, maybe it's useful. Let me know. It might be way too small to see.
Could have had tyre wear on there as well.
Could have done, yeah, but you can bollocks to that one. Even Flintstone's telling me to tell you to bollocks to that one. But SGP still on the back of Steve F1, Jason there as well. Oh, where's Dave? Dave the Arp's not in the top 8. Oh yeah, he went off, didn't he? Sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to rub sand into the wound. I was genuinely wondering where he was because I wasn't watching at that point. So SRI, who was also leading, he's got Art Pal behind him. That's in 7th and 8th. That's on the pack cam. As SGP ran a little bit wide, got away with it though.
Yeah, and there we can see Jason in the second half of the race. Well, he's mainly been up around 4th, 5th place, hasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, but he seems stronger always in the second half of the race. But it's just the warm-up time.
Maybe. The thing is, I mean, look at his tyre wear as well. I mean, okay, he only pitted. Well, he pitted at the same time as Demon R. Conrad's got better tyres, or maybe not. Well, he's got better wear rate on his tyres at the moment. SRI, decent tyres there. Oh, Jimmy, big tank slapper in the background. SRI run a little bit. I'm not surprised Jimmy's peeled into the pits. Art Power almost run a little bit wide as well, but manages to get away with it. And there is, well, Fluffy's definitely got brand new tyres on, and he's not been back in the pits. So any banter about he forgot to put tyres on was all a ruse to put people off. Okay. Dave the Arp's got fresh tyres as well, so I think Dave has pitted after having that bit of a moment. Not a bad thing to do that, you know. He's ahead of Twilight and he'll get boost, so should be able to catch up to Fluffy, I reckon.
I did think, I think that's Dave's pitted twice, but in the background we've seen Haig before the last hairpin having a moment before the
Yep, that
pit
it was.
entry.
I'm just thinking, I'm pretty sure on the side of Jason's car there's a little bird. There is a bird carrying, I wonder if it's a Ukrainian bird. I don't know.
What, the birds have passports or something?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, things.
I'm
I was going to
Ukrainian.
say, it is Ukrainian colours, but we're on board with Jimmy. Okay, this is the cameraman gone for a dump.
We could be feeling sick after this.
Oh well, yeah. If Jimmy going to be sideways anywhere. Okay, I'm guessing not much is happening elsewhere. If we're out, let's see how Jimmy's getting on.
What use fourth gear for that corner?
Yeah.
Yep. Some people would drop it down into the
See,
third.
I think dropping it down.
A wee bit more erratic.
I was going to say makes it a bit more twitchy. He's staying in third as well for the corkscrew, which isn't a bad idea. And he's closing in on Hay. I think Hay's had an accident at the corkscrew. So Jimmy doing all right there. Perhaps could have taken a bit more speed through the left-hander, but comfortable in fourth. Clips the sausage and wide he goes. That's why you don't want to be clipping the sausages. That's what it does to you.
There's a move Pat Cam. Is that?
Ooh, Jimmy was sideways. Jimmy was so sideways he was watching the pack cam while he was driving. But yeah, I think that was Art Pal on Fluffy.
Yeah, it's Art Pal on Fluffy, yeah.
Or Fluffy on Art
Pal.
It actually may have been Fluffy trying to make the move on Art Pal. Hadn't quite got it done yet, as the cameraman is back. He's back. Yeah. He's had a wipe.
And he's missed the overtake.
He comes in late, doesn't he? I don't know. It's not like
it's one job to do.
I was gonna say it's not like DGT has done 15 championships and the cameraman doesn't know what they're doing by now. But I think Art Pal may have just backed out of that one. On the pack cam, looking at the gap between Demon R and Steve F1, I think, to be honest, it looks like Demon R is just sort of pacing himself to make sure that the tyres get to the end of the moment, because the point when they pitted, I think it was close to whether they can make it to the end. Jason on SGP.
Is he going for that third place? He will do it. I don't think he's going to not go. He's got better tyres and SGP's a bit lower.
Well, SGP pitted very early, didn't he? Well, he was one of the early stoppers, so his tyres are going to suffer more. And okay, he's not got a lot of wear now. You compare that to Jason, though. Jason's got probably nearly half the amount of wear. But
things that'll help SGP here and parking it on the apex that we know he's good at.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the thing is as well, with these tyres, I mean, they'll get to the end, but I know, like, if you do 25 minutes, you can be okay. If you do 30 minutes, those last 5 minutes are awful. I think SGP and Dave the Art would have been going longer than 30. Dave the Art's done his second pit stop. So SGP may struggle from now on, because I think he's done 20-ish minutes on these tyres. So probably got about another 4 or 5 minutes until they really start to suffer. So Jason, if he can just sit there and keep applying the pressure, I think he'll get to the point where SGP just hasn't got the grip. On the pack cam, nope. Fluffy trying to close in on SRI. Can't quite do it yet, but is that he has. Also Conrad, not that far, there he is, just so I mentioned it, not that far away from Jason. So yeah, Conrad with the fresher tyres of these front five has an opportunity here, you know, especially if these two start battling. SGP's going defensive, covering the inside line. Jason may be able to go all the way around the outside, or perhaps go for the switchback. No, he's keeping a tight line. Oh yeah, SGP parked it.
Yeah, he's parking it, and what's going to happen is Conrad's going to get on the back of them and Fluffy!
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. Fluffy making the move on SRI. Oh, Jason's just got wide. That's compromised himself. As we now go to have a look at Fluffy and SRI. Dave the Arbor is going to go for a switchback. Sausage! He had to back out of that one after clobbering the sausage there. So they're still side by side. There's another sausage here. They all miss it. Still side by side. SRI and Fluffy. Fluffy's got the inside line for the left-hander. Dave having a look, but there isn't really anywhere to go there. He may be able to floller Fluffy flew. Conrad! Conrad!
Oh, he went wide. That was close.
He did it, Jimmy. It was massively sideways. SGP
Sorry, I distracted.
That's all right.
The heart looking for a move on, it's alright.
Oh, Fluffy deep! Fluffy massively deep!
Oh, is it going to collect time? Eyes are closed.
Oh, I think Twilight's gone to go round the outside. That might not work. SRI and Dave managed to avoid Fluffy there. Art Pal, is that having a look up the inside? It is. Fluffy still struggling. I wouldn't be surprised if Fluffy perhaps goes for another set of tyres at some point. I mean, he's not had a lot of practice. Twilight and Art Pal side by side. Yeah, they are still side by side. SGP still ahead of Jason. Jason's harassing him. Dog. Oh, Fluffy's coming in. Oh dear.
He's looking for a way. He can't get away past him.
I think Arpal may go a little bit deep. Yeah, he did. Fluffy up the inside there makes the move. Twilight going aggressive, not aggressive, going attackive, but making sure that Fluffy can't get past him. And I mentioned that Jason harassing SGP like a dog. I threw a ball for my dog. It was a bit extravagant, but it looked really good in a tuxedo.
As we see Jason, he's back on the back of SGP. He's got to make the move.
Dave the Arp. Oh, where's the SRI going? Oh, it's straight on. I know you were talking then. I was just on the pack cam. I thought Dave was going for a massively fast undercut, but SRI just went straight on at the corner. I can only guess that there may have been some kind of technical issue there. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, he's real disconnected from his column.
Oh
from
dear.
The shaft.
From his shaft. Oh dear. I'm not commenting on that. Oh, Jason making the move on SGP on the exit of the final corner. I think SGP perhaps just got a little bit wide. Is he going to have the tyres to really attack back? I'm not sure. He's closing. He's wobbling his head and he's closing. And Jason this time goes defensive. SGP trying to go around here. Go on, Jason. Park it on the apex on this one. Yeah, nothing SGP could do there. Jason going defensive again. And Conrad closing the gap. Oh, SGP. That was a little bit dippy.
He's done the tyre again on the real tyre on the gravel again. And you can tell his tyres are just not holding out for him.
Well, that's the thing. Oh, yeah, look at the amount of wear he's got. It's slightly unbalanced. The car's just going to start sliding. I said in about 5 minutes, the car, the tyres will suffer. It's been just over 5 minutes, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see SGP going a bit more sideways in continuous corners. Twilight just did as well, and that's going to give Jimmy an opportunity to attack him, as Artpal's got a decent view of that. Jimmy sideways. He survived though. Twilight making the move.
SGP is going to come under pressure with Conrad now. Conrad's going. A few people like to take the wider line into that corner and hit the apex, and some people just like to keep it a wee bit tighter. So we are seeing different lines. Conrad going for a switchback. Who's going to put him on
big
the
crash!
outside.
Sorry, I didn't see exactly what happened. I just saw 2 cars going flying off on the pack cam. Sorry, apologies.
That's alright. Just cut me off.
What? Say? Hey.
Yeah. Every time. Yeah. On you go. Oh, you're blowing your nose. Yeah, Conrad done. There was 2 different lines which we seen going into the corners. And Conrad was going. It looked like he was doing a couple of switchbacks, but on the last hairpin, it was putting him on the outside line, which you don't really want because you've got nowhere to go. You can't turn in as good as you want to. As we see Artpal making a move on. I know it switched to the same people.
yeah.
He got the wheels the sausage in between the wheels.
Conrod's just gone a little bit deep as well in the left-hander, heading up towards the rail straight. The line you was mentioning that Conrad took through the left-hander after the corkscrew, it was a very, very, very wide turn in, but it can work brilliantly for a switchback. As Hay making the move on Arpal as he's trying. That's a nice move from Hay there, if he can hold on to it into the corkscrew. Conrad sideways on the exit of the corkscrew, tank slapper. Dave's closing in on him. Dave can see him on the back cam. Dave's going to pass him. Yes, he does. Is anybody else? Fluffy's closing in as well. It's all going pear-shaped for Connor.
Yeah, he's got to watch his tyres are going to still be dirty, so I thought he was going to go wide there. So his tyres are still going to be dirty, but...
There was something we didn't mention earlier. Arpal trying to a little switch back on 8. Something I didn't mention earlier is that at this track, your tyres will get dirty, but also it's hot here. So the tyres will overheat very quickly, especially if you punish them. Arpal looking for a little bit of a switch back to the inside, is he? No, he's not really going for it. He's got deep into the back of Fluffy, gets away with it. Arpal goes deep as well.
Yeah.
I mean, can you have a fair overtake when you've gone deep on someone who's gone deep?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's one for the G-spot. 2 gone deeps on the G-spot. Okay, I tell you what, Ray, we've only got a minute and a half left of this race.
As we see Arpal and Hay still having that battle.
Yeah. I would say minute and a half for this race. Minute and a half for this championship is all that's left. So Arpal and Hay still side by side. Conrad having a wobble. Oh no, Conrad, don't do that. He saved it. Well done. Arpal and Hay. I think Hay's had a moment as well. SRI coming into this. I don't know what happened to SRI. I don't know why he's back there. Fluffy. Nearly went a bit deep at the corkscrew. I'm just looking at the time. Conrad. No, he's gone wide. He went for that really, really wide line. And it's not worked. Oh dear, I think he may have collected Hay as well. Disaster for Hay. I should mention as well, actually, as things have flown by pretty quickly, Bunsell has already DNF'd from this race. Unfortunately, not feeling too well as Demonar is on to the final lap of the race. I think Conrad may also be DNFing at the moment as, this championship is coming to a close. Demonar leading the way ahead of Steve F1 and Jason, who is still ahead of SGP. So Jason, I don't know if he'll be able to close in on Steve F1, but he's on for another podium. SGP, has he got Dave the Arp closing in on him, or is that gap too big? SGP was big sideways, and Dave the Arp is closing in on him.
Yeah, he's gonna have to nurse it back. Look at that tyre wear.
Compare that to Twilight. Twilight's tyres are almost brand new, but he's got SRI ahead of him. He's going to try a little bit of a switch back. Go on, up the inside. Oh, God. Has he got it? Fluffy covering him off. Or is he giving him slipstream?
SRIs are going to get Fluffy.
No, with that amount of dust kicked up, surely not. No, he didn't.
Still there. Free weight coming into there.
Into the corkscrew. Fluffy still ahead. I think Twilight may just give him a little bit of a tag. He's okay though. SRI. It's so close.
Door on SRI.
Dave the Arp's on the back of SGP as Demonar is heading into the final corner. SGP is struggling. He's got no grip. He's covering the inside. Demonar though is going to take the victory. Don't go and pin it over the line. Steve F1 second. Dave the Arp and SGP side by side. Jason's in third. I think something may have happened with Fluffy as well. Oh dear. And Twilight. Oh dear. What a race though. What a bonkers race.
Yep. That was total bonkers at the end there.
Yeah, I'm hearing that I think Twilight tagged Fluffy into the final corner. Unfortunately, knocked Fluffy wide, cost him a couple of positions, and then Twilight backed out of it and waited for him. So unfortunate for both Fluffy and Twilight there, but some cracking battles going on in that race there.
Yeah, I don't think there was a moment of calmness in there, except for the pit stop.
Yeah, I mean
It's like,
the pit lane was a long wait for the drivers in the pit lane. Here's a question for you: with a pit stop that takes that long, do you reckon it tempts them to not pit more than once?
yeah, I think it would. If they can get away with doing just the one stop, why not just do the one stop and forget about losing that extra 40 seconds? But then, are you going to lose it at the end? Well, we've seen what how hard SGP was battling, but
Yeah, I
he,
mean,
he only pitted once as well, but he pitted early on.
yeah, he pitted after about 8 minutes, I think it was. So yeah, it's kind of catch-22, I suppose. For the pitting early worked really well for. I mean, interestingly, actually, SGP and Dave the Harp I think they pitted about the same time early on. Dave the Harp had a crash, didn't he? Then pitted again later on, and ended up nearly passing SGP before the finish line. So the one stop versus the two stop, there wasn't a lot in it really.
No, there wasn't. Plus, had Dave the Harp not had these incidents, then
Well, yeah,
maybe
he'd have got him.
he might have got him. Could have well and truly got him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good point. Not only that, he may have ended up further up. Because, I mean, well, if on average, as far as wide as he went off, you're probably losing 8 to 10 seconds, maybe. So, yeah, he could have potentially been looking at Jason, potentially. I've got to say, though, Jason's had a fantastic race. I don't think he was that keen on this car, but he seems to get decent results out of it.
Yeah, he was within the pack to begin with, and like I say, once the second half of the race comes, he comes alive somehow. You see a different pace in him.
I bet the women love him, you know. He's a bit dull and boring to begin with, but then by the end of the night they can't walk. You've been flat packed. Oh dear. I dare you to sing that to him, Jason. I'm a smooth criminal. You've been flat packed. Oh dear God. Well,
Got your day job.
Yeah, well, it could be worse, right? Because Paddy and Mick went to London to donate sperm, but it was an absolute disaster. Paddy missed the tube and Mick came on the bus.
Damn.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Steve F1, he had an interesting race as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I know. Never really had much with Demon just at the start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then once he made his way through the pack.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was the moment where Steve F1 called up to Art Powell and they ended up 3 wide. I mean, I definitely wouldn't put any blame on Art Powell there. I mean, I would actually say I think Demon potentially could have put himself in a bit of a tricky situation, but I can understand that Steve F1 may have felt that he sort of made contact with Demon and pushed him wide and waited for him. So I mean, like I said, I don't know if I'd necessarily blame anyone in that scenario, but I've not really looked into it. But fair play to Steve F1 for doing what he felt was the right thing there, and not easy to do. It's not easy, because even if he'd have waited to the main straight to give the position back, he'd have probably lost 4 or 5 places. So it's definitely not easy to give positions back in those last sort of couple of corners, but he did appear to do it safely. And that's one thing I would say whenever anybody is giving a position back, just make sure you do it safe. You don't have to do it instantly. You do have to do it as soon as you can, but you don't have to do it like if you're in the middle of a corner, you shouldn't suddenly be hitting the brakes, slowing down to wait for someone, because if there's cars behind you, you're then going to be having to wait for them as well. So yeah, do it safely.
about the commentator's decoration there. I was only taking a mic when he was thinging that before we get loads of comment and he done it in a dangerous place. Why has it not been thinged?
It was a push to pass.
But only here for the bang. Oh.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing as well. Obviously, we've talked a bit about push to pass. We got questioned about it, and we did a G spot on it last week. But quite often, when like in racing, things will crop up and things will happen, and then it'll sort of reoccur. So it may be a spout of what people think are dive bombs or push to passes or unfair overtakes or different things like that. It's just the way racing goes. What I will say though is Demon R, since stopping drinking, I've not looked at his complete record, but I don't think he's finished lower than 5th in any of those races, and finally gets his 7th championship. So well done to Demon R. Definitely back to form. Steve F1 has had a really good championship. Tried to take the fight to him, or just unfortunately wasn't able to in the end. SGP has had an interesting season. Won a race. Twilight won a couple of races. I know he doesn't.
He's good. That's the thing with Twilight. You put him in like day cars or normal car,
road cars,
road car type ones, and he does really well. I'd like to see what happens with the next season when that starts with F1. What is it?
The F1500.
1500?
Yeah, 1500.
Yeah.
Still need a name for that championship, by the way. But yeah, I mean,
Jason, he's had a good race.
Good season. Good season. I mean, Dave's been there or thereabouts, very close to opportunities to win. I think Jimmy's had a decent season. Hay has had a decent season. Gary, or Flintstone, as I've been calling him all day, has had a decent season. Obviously, he got a penalty last week, but and actually, we will go through that penalty on the G spot, which isn't going to be a part of this video this week. The G spot is going to be separate. But make sure you check it out because it should be very, very interesting. It's just, I know it's going to be a bit of a long one, so we're going to separate it this week, see how that goes. But yeah, so well done to Flintstone.
Rich.
Yeah, Rich has had a good championship as well. I mean, I think Rich and Flintstone have...
why are you calling him Flintstone? I know he's away to... I get it.
Abba dabba doo! I've been waiting all race for you to go, why'd you call him Flintstone? So, because he'd Abba dabba doo!
But Gary wasn't in the race.
I know he wasn't. That's why I kept saying that he wasn't there. Flintstone wasn't there. Yeah, Flintstone will have to message Fluffy about that one. See?
Yeah, it's just when I said that. I know he's away to.
And then he clicked.
The joke came in. I was like, all right. Yeah, Gary and Rich have been having a good season. Jimmy as well.
I think Gary and Rich have had their potentially best championship finishes, or at least I think they've had their best amount of points scored. I think Rich has anyway.
Well, Rich is on that famous 8th.
Yeah. But,
so, yeah.
I'm determined to make sure he finishes better than that in the next championship. Something I will quickly mention actually is that if people are struggling with the next championship car, feel free to get in touch for a session, because there are some quirks to that car, and if you don't know them or you're not used to it, or you try and drive it a certain way, it may come across as being a horrible, nasty car, but it really isn't. It is a great, fun car to drive once you know how it wants to be driven. It's just like Jason's ladies. Once he knows how they want to be ridden, It's a great ride. Oh,
And
Jesus.
it was nice to see. Fluffy, he's had a good when he's been turning up. He's had a
Yeah.
good season, and it was nice to see
Art Pal.
Art back
Yeah.
in the driver's seat. I know
Yeah.
he said he was sore after it.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to obviously be a little careful about how his shoulder recovers. But obviously, one of the reasons for him taking the break in this championship was hopefully to recover more for the next championship. Obviously, we've not been able to see Mitch much in this championship with work getting in the way for him. Unfortunately, that's just the way life is. Bunsell has had to deal with COVID and other things, not well. And I think in this one, he was exhausted and was falling asleep, so that's why he didn't finish. Conrad has had a very up and down season. He was doing absolutely brilliantly well early on. I think I might have commented. You know what? I think I better commentators cursed him early on, didn't I? Saying that like how well he was doing. Yeah.
Oh right, I thought you meant about the hitting the sausage.
No, well, what he does on a weekend is up to him. But yeah, I think in the first few races I may have sort of praised him, and it's probably turned into a commentator's curse because he has had just some unfortunate spins that, and especially ones late on, which then it just sort of spoils it for him. But hopefully the next car will be a car that sort of he gets on with, because I do think that the next car is a car that you can sort of just you can just jump in it and go, as long as you know only use first gear at the start of the race and at no other point, and rev it to the limiter. Don't short shift in it. You're better off bouncing off the rev limiter once or twice than you are short shifting. As soon as you know those two things, you can just jump in it and go, and it will steer. It has grip. So yeah. I think once people have done at least one race in it and realised, oh, okay, it can do that, can it? Then it kind of takes the pressure away of having to practice loads or anything like that. So hopefully it will help. I will just quickly mention as well, thank you to Rich for asking the post-race comments. He's missed a couple this championship, but one of them was because of his birthday. And I think the other one, I can't remember. I think he was away. He was
away for the weekend.
That was for I think that might have been for his birthday. But yeah, thanks to him for doing that. And also thanks to the drivers for making the championship what it is. It's definitely been an exciting one. And in a moment we will check out the confirmed race result and the championship standings. But before we do, Ray,
there was something that came out yesterday.
Are you not going to set it up how I mentioned to you?
Sorry.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, you know what, Ray? I think it's time for...
Oh, I thought it was too early for that. I thought we were going to mention the thing that came out yesterday.
Yeah, do it in the same way, but GT7, not G-Spot.
Oh, right.
Yeah, see, to make people think it's the G-Spot, but it's not. It's about GT7. Right. Yeah, nobody heard any of that. Let's do it again.
It's time for the GT7.
Right, okay.
Information.
So what about GT7 then?
The GT7, it came out last night from when we were recording this.
Yep.
As a league, we aren't jumping straight over because we've got to let our drivers have the chance to get the game. They're getting the game and that. We don't want to have them feel pressured that they need to get the game. That's not what it's. We're not about pressure. And this league, it's fun and friends. Fun friends. FS. Fun friends. Yeah, so there's no rush for our drivers to get it. You won't see us league racing on it anytime soon. drivers that do get the game, make sure you listen to Rupert.
Yeah. Don't do what Ray did and ignore all of the information given on the screen and then go, "What do you want me? I don't know what he wants me to do." Yeah.
Well, I will say I had a few drinks.
Yeah, just a few. Well, a couple of things,
Yeah.
couple of extra things to mention is obviously the game's not cheap, so
Yeah.
that's one reason why DGT isn't sort of rushing to jump over, because it's not a cheap game. And a bit of information for you: if you've got a PS4, you can get the game for $59.99, I think it is, and it'll work on the PS4, and it'll also work with people that are on a PS5. When you get a PS5, you'll have to pay, I think it's about £10 to upgrade that game to the PS5 version. Or you can pay 90 quid for the 25th anniversary edition, which is the PS4 and PS5 version with a few extras. And then you can have that on your PS4, then when you go to PS5, you just load it all basically. However, if you've got a PS5, you have the option of getting the PS5 version, which isn't $59.99. I think it's $69.99. Or you can get the 25th anniversary edition, which again is 90 quid. So there are different options for you. So, but also it's not like you've got to wait till you get a PS5 to be able to get it. But we are aware that it's not cheap. Okay. However, what we would say is, if you're wondering how to justify spending that amount of money, well, Gran Turismo are not going to bring another game out next year, or the year after, or the year after that, or probably the year after that. It's probably going to be 5 or 6 years until they bring out another game. So that's $59.99 spread over those years is worth every penny.
Yeah, and like we were, well, those 4 of us playing it last night, and we finally get 2 hours roughly to get to multiplayer. Well, I say 2 hours, it was 3.
It was over 2.5 hours.
3 hours for myself,
Yeah.
because I didn't listen.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 hours to get to multiplayer. When we did get to multiplayer, we could see stuff that
There's
we still need.
Well,
We still need to work out on and that. So
well, let me sort of recap it so I can touch on a couple of things that you mentioned there. So for anyone that isn't aware, on GT7, when you get the game, you can't just load it up and go online. You have to do the single player to a point that unlocks the online part of the game, and that's the part that will take 2 to 3 hours. So that's another reason why DGT isn't going to be jumping over to that game, because for those guys that only get to come on every now and again on a Thursday, it's going to take them a while to unlock the multiplayer. Now DGT may try and set up days to sort of get people together to sort of do those things, and we'll be there to help, so that people don't feel lonely doing it. But yeah, you're looking at 2 to 3 hours of gameplay just to get the online availability. And as Ray said, when we did have a look at the online lobby part, they need to make some adjustments to it. I think they will be, but as an example, we set up a lobby, you can't save the settings. We'll set up a lobby and you can't, once you've set it up, you can't then change the settings within the lobby. So there's 2 things straight away. It's like, well, it's not ready for league racing yet. Also, there are a few bugs with a couple of the menus regarding traction control and ABS and that lot. So they still need to sort that out. So do not panic about getting the game early. And do not panic about seeing any of the guys on GT7 thinking that they're leaving you behind. They're not. So I think that'll cover us for GT7 at the moment. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to mention there.
Lobby, the game, the time.
Well, okay, the game does actually seem to be pretty good. It does seem to be good. The graphics seem to be good. The physics seem to be good. They're modifying of cars. There's a lot you can do. It's a little bit overwhelming at first, but it is cool at the same time.
Don't watch my stream. I was muted in it anyway.
Yeah, well done. Well, the other thing is, I mean, there is currently, I don't know if they've fixed it yet or not, but when I was trying to live stream last night, every time I started to stream, it crashed the game. I found out eventually after 8 crashes that it is a known fault with the game at the moment. So that'll be, again, something they'll be fixing. Now, for anyone that is panicking, thinking, oh, it's broken, it's crap, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, all games come out with a few issues, and all games come out with a few updates due within the first week or two. So I'm not overly worried. Let's put it this way. I'm a hell of a lot less worried about this than I ever was about any F1 game that got released. So, yeah. Okay, so other things to mention quickly, because we will wrap this up in a second, is the next championship. The details for that will be given out more. I think the tracks need to be confirmed and all that kind of stuff. The start date, it'll be the third Thursday from the last race of the season, but again, we will confirm the date to all of the drivers. And yeah, as I mentioned, if anybody wants some help with that card, just feel free to ask, because it's a bit of a beast, but it's good fun. It is good fun. Okay. I think it's just about time to check out the confirmed race result and the championship standings. But before I do, I just want to welcome our next band, the Subtractions. Take it away, boys. That's a joke, Ray.
Alright, take it away.
Yeah, bloody hell.
I was waiting for music. I was like,
no.
I was sitting back in my seat. I was waiting for music. Come on. Yeah. And guys, remember the G spot is on a separate video.
Yes, which I'm thinking I will release on Monday at about 6 o'clock. So yeah, make sure you check that out. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for certain. Right, let's check out the confirmed standings. The confirmed race result and the championship standings. Confirmation then of the race result. Demon R taking the victory, the maximum 20 points. Steve F1 in second, Jason in third. SGP held on just for fourth place ahead of Dave the Harp in fifth. SRI finished in sixth with Art Pal in seventh place. Fluffy and Twilight finishing eighth and ninth. They did have a little bit of a coming together. Well, I say coming together. Twilight nudged Fluffy wide at the final corner. Lost them both a couple of places. 10th place for Hay. Jimmy finished in 11th with Conrad 12th with a DNF and Bumsel 13th with a DNF. Unfortunate for both of those. On to the standings then, and Demon R confirmed as champion, although we've already seen a picture with it saying he's champion, but he is confirmed now as champion. 162 points, 22 ahead of Steve F1 in second place. I think it's fair to say Demon R has been back to his best in this championship, winning 5 out of the 9 races. SGP in third place, 127 points for him. It's been a good season for the both of the Steves. Twilight in fourth place. He may not have enjoyed most of this season, but he's had a fantastic result in the standings. 116 points for him. Jason finishes in fifth place on 111 points. Good championship from him as well. Dave the Harp finishes in sixth place. He's done really well to recover back to that position, ahead of Formula Gary in seventh and Rich Blues in eighth. Jimmy couldn't quite catch Rich or Gary, but he is in ninth place, 3 points ahead of SRI in 10th. And then we've got Hay in 11th on 45 points, jumps ahead of Conrad with his DNF, so Conrad down to 12th. Fluffy in 13th, nearly could have jumped Conrad, but unfortunate at the end. Bumsel 14th on 36 points, and then Mitch and Art Pal joint 15th on 10 points each. Obviously there's no race next week or the week after in the DGT League, because we have a couple of weeks off, but that is the end end of the Expo Championship, but it's not the end of the Open Wheel Academy trilogy, because the next championship is going to be in the Gran Turismo F1500, the sort of 80s style F1 car, where we should be seeing some nice liveries. So yeah, we've got a couple of weeks until that. We've also got the G-Spot as its own separate video, which should be available from about 6 o'clock tomorrow, that's Monday. So yeah, we'll see how things go with that. And finally, I'd just like to say thank you to all of the drivers for taking part. It was what makes the league exciting. And thank you to all of the viewers, whether you're a driver or not. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. I'll never apologise for the bad jokes. Feed me more, as Ryback would say. Feed me more. So yeah, send those jokes in to really wind Ray up. Any about Scottish people would be really good as well. So yeah, thank you everybody. Don't forget, DGT merch is available, also custom items. Check out the link in the description, and feel free to send us a message on the DGT Facebook page. Link for that is also in the description. Have a good one everybody, take it easy, enjoy this couple of weeks break, because when we come back it's gonna be mental. Have a good one, and we'll see you all again soon.